a Kickstarter came online about a week and a half ago. We haven't done a podcast in 3 weeks. Dragon's Lair, a movie. Don Bluth, who's done great animation in the past. He did like Anastasia.
Fievel.
Fievel's a good one.
Fucking Secret of Nim, which is one of my favorite animated movies of all time.
Brilliant guy.
He is hands down my favorite animator.
So, if you don't know what Dragon's Lair is, it was 1983 at the cusp of the video game crash, and it was like the first Laserdisc game. It was the first QuickTime event game. And beautiful animation, looked like a freaking Disney movie or Don Bluth movie, and it was impossible. Then they came out with the sequel like 8 years later, and in between they had Space Ace in like the late 80s. And these are all classics. You can play them. They sell the Blu-rays, and I used to have them in my main cabinet because I bought the CD and ripped them from there, and I actually had you can play the Laserdisc games on the MAME cabinet. Got rest in peace, MAME cabinet. Not sure I'm going to get one again. So, Kickstarter came up. Dragon's Lair, the movie. 13 days to go at this point. We're recording this on November 11th. By the time you see this on YouTube, might be less days. They want to raise $550,000. They're at $174,000. Probably won't raise it.
Nope.
Probably not. It's a very strange Kickstarter. And I'm not saying a Dragon's Lair movie is a horrible idea on the surface.
I think anyone would be happy to see another Bluth movie because it's been forever.
Sure, but there's issues here though. The first issue is thinking that there's enough people that love Dragon's Lair to raise this money.
Yes.
We're talking about a game that is now 32 years old. That people love Dragon's Lair. How many? Not enough to raise this amount of money. So the problems with the Kickstarter, it's not exactly the amount asked for. It's the fact that it's not clearly disclosed what the amount is going towards. It's the $550,000 goal. If you dig, and you have to dig,
it's really deep down
to get this information. Like it's not even on the page anymore. Like I think in print. The $550,000.
It is because I read it today. It's for a pitch, is what the $550,000.
It's for a 10-minute proof of concept short film that they want to get out there, maybe tour around and put in front of executives to get the real budget for a movie, a feature length, say a 100-minute movie, which would be like $75 million.
Yes.
That's the problem. I don't think it's clear going into this Kickstarter that that's what this is for.
No. And it isn't. And this is kind of... well, first, my take on Dragon's Lair. It's a game. It's so old, but people like animated movies. If people didn't know the property, I don't think that would necessarily stop people from going to see it. It would just look like any sort of medieval type of animated movie. So I don't think the property is the issue. I have an issue with how this money is being used, especially because I thought they said they had it budgeted at, they had budgeted at 70 mil. My problem is that this is very, very much an example of what is fucking up Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Because this is completely ruining the general layman's idea of what things really cost. Mm-hmm. So when something like this has $550,000, people are like, oh, then that's what an animated movie costs. Now, honestly, they probably shouldn't think that, but there are people who are going to. So,
and this is traditional animation, too.
Right. There are people who are going to. When Koji Igarashi did Bloodstained, the guy from Castlevania, he was looking for, I think, $500,000, right? People are like, oh, that's what it takes to make a game. No, he had 4.5 mil ready to go towards the game. People are using this too much as a gauge of interest. And what this is doing is it's fucking it up for people who are trying to use crowdfunding in a real way. So, for instance, a quick example. There's an RPG, Indivisible, that's being made by the people who made Skullgirls, which is a fighting game. They are asking for a lot of money, and they've clearly listed why and what their budget is. Mm-hmm. People are flipping out because they think they're asking for way too much money. They're not. What they're doing, smartly, is asking for their whole budget so that they don't have to come out and be like, we're out of money. They're using it the real way.
Or a lot of games, you never see the game you Kickstarter.
Right. So they're
trying to avoid that.
But what happens is it's things like this Dragon's Lair Kickstarter where it's just for a 10-minute teaser and not a movie, yet they're kind of obfuscating that. That hurts everyone else's chances at a legitimate Kickstarter because then the real budgets look look overblown to the general public.
I'm trying to see this information on the page of that it's for this 10-minute proof of concept. All I know is that
I saw it earlier.
There was two different Kickstarter videos. The second one doesn't say that at all. They had a first one that did.
Yes.
Now, I'll talk about that right now.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
So the second one, they changed out the Kickstarter video. When you go to Kickstarter, usually there's like a pitch video. This isn't even a pitch. It just goes over like Don Bluth's past.
Right. It starts with Secret of Nim and then goes into other movies he's done.
It sounds like this is recorded for something totally different, and they
Yes.
stuck it here. Because the first video was an absolute mess.
Holy shit.
And I don't want to get on the people involved. They mean well. But the first, and it's still up on Don Bluth's YouTube page, if you search for it. The first Kickstarter pitch was like a couple of guys, older gentlemen, talking about, hey, they're like some middle America town, saying, oh, we love Dragon's Lair. Let's go see Don Bluth. They visit Don Bluth at some weird theater company.
Well, that's what he's been doing.
Which is fine, but then not really talk about Dragon's Lair at all, or what's going on with this project. It then proceeds in some really bizarre Wizard of Oz sequence with actors in full regalia and makeup.
You gotta see it. I mean, it's just... I had to start clicking through because some parts were a little rough.
Don, I love you, Don. This is not the way to go, buddy. This is not the way to go with the and I'm saying this with my own Kickstarter pitch on the horizon. That's not the way to go. So then at the end of that video, they do at the very tail end say
they talk about it. Where the money is. That
this $550,000 is going to a 10-minute proof of concept video.
Right.
To get us to raise it for $75 million at the tail end. That shouldn't be at the tail end. But now that video is not even on the Kickstarter page anymore. That's my issue.
Probably because it was embarrassing, and probably because
it was very embarrassing.
Probably because Don Bluth looked unexcited the entire time.
It almost came off like he wasn't the guy running, or wasn't the guy who had the initiative to do it.
Yeah, and I can't tell what was acting because they were trying to pull him out of his animation retirement, but like he just didn't seem like he had any interest in fucking doing it.
So $75 million. I don't know anything about traditional animation at this point. I do know that traditional animation takes a hell of a lot longer to do than even assisted hand. Like a lot of times now they start with the hand and then use a computer to fill in the gaps and stuff. So that's a lot of money for an independent animated movie. That's just a lot of money, even to get there. Obviously, they couldn't say we want $75 million for Dragon's Lair movie. No one was going to raise it. But even if they hit this goal, I don't see a studio green lighting this. For like the risk for a $75 million animated movie that's not Pixar.
Sadly, there's a reason why we do not see traditionally animated movies anymore.
But they still come out few and far between.
Yeah,
you had that Disney Princess one, Princess and the Frog, 9 years ago. That could have been one of the last ones, but that made a lot of money.
But I'm just saying, like, they're not. Yeah, they're not in abundance.
They take years and they take a lot of money because you are drawing every frickin' frame. We're talking, a million frames, of a movie that's being drawn. Obviously, they look beautiful. You can't match the look of it. And that's what Frank complains. Oh, it's not traditionally animated. I'm like, hey, Frank, do you want to see these movies get made or not? I mean, that's what it comes down to. You can try to fudge it and go in between. So it's just I don't wish it ill will. It's just not. It doesn't seem right. It's almost like you'd rather see a Kickstarter for a Dragon's Lair 3 game. Actually, there was a Dragon's Lair 3 sometime in the 90s, but I think it was an adventure game. It wasn't like a quick time event.
There was a Dragon's Lair 3D, which is was, I believe, called was supposed to be the.
But what if they raise this money and then, I mean, how much animation's in a Dragon's Lair game? 20 minutes. The original.
I think it's like 17.
So
that, for whatever reason,
would that sort of fulfill that sort of itch? I mean, is there really a full narrative of Dragon's Lair you want to see?
Yeah, I'd rather just play another Dragon's Lair game.
So maybe that's where I'm looking. And $75 million, that's just gonna, no studio would green like that. It'd make like $10 million at most. There's just no interest in it. Plus, it's not even for kids. So you have a traditionally animated movie not for kids. And the last time that happened was that. The one that came out like 2000, that sci-fi one. Janine Garofalo did one of the voices.
Oh shit! I can't remember the name.
Something
but I remember
AE, whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say something AE too.
And that bombed horrifically. And that was the last time they attempted that.